Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you were walking into a storm? Not a literal storm. There's no wind, no rain, but the air is heavy. You can feel the sharp edges of a conversation that ended 10 minutes before you arrived. You can feel the brittle tension in your friend's smile, the cold vacuum of your partner's unspoken disappointment, or the frantic, buzzing anxiety of a stranger sitting 3 tables away. While everyone else is just eating dinner, you are drowning in data. You aren't just hearing people, you're absorbing them. You're a human sponge in a world made of acid, and for years, you've been told that this intensity is a gift, that you're empathetic, that you're sensitive. But let's be honest, just between us, it doesn't feel like a gift, does it? It feels like a curse. It feels like walking around without skin. Every emotional breeze feels like a blowtorch. You've spent your whole life wondering why you're too much for some people and not enough for yourself. Here is the paradox. The person who feels the most for everyone else is often the person who feels the least seen by anyone. You spend your days translating the world's pain, acting as a lightning rod for everyone else's storms. But when the lightning hits you, who is there to ground you? We're going to talk about something today that most people don't have the vocabulary for. We aren't just talking about being sensitive, we're talking about emotional hypervigilance. We're talking about the silent, grueling labor of the sensing child who grew up to be an exhausted adult. By the end of this, you're going to understand why you do what you do, why you can't stop fixing people, why you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault, and most importantly, we're going to answer the one question you've been afraid to ask. Is it possible to feel this much and still be okay? But first, I have to ask you something uncomfortable. When was the last time you felt a feeling that didn't belong to someone else? To understand why your heart feels like an open wound, we have to look at the machinery of your brain. Most people have an emotional filter. Think of it like a screen door. It lets the breeze in, but it keeps the bugs out. Your screen door was taken off the hinges a long time ago. There are 3 psychological concepts that explain why your reality is so much louder than everyone else's. 1. The amygdala on high alert. Deep in your brain, there's a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. It's your body's smoke detector. In most people, it goes off when there's a fire. In you, it goes off when someone shifts their weight slightly to the left. Because of your history, perhaps a childhood where you had to predict the mood of a parent just to stay safe, your amygdala became hyper-tuned. You didn't become sensitive because you were born that way. You became sensitive because you were trained. You learned that survival meant reading the room before you entered it. You became an expert in the micro shift. A tone of voice, a sigh, a specific way someone puts down a coffee mug. To you, these aren't just sounds, they are sirens. 2. The Fawn response. You've heard of fight or flight. You might have even heard of freeze, but there is a 4th survival mechanism, fawning. Fawning is the people-pleasing reflex taken to a biological extreme. When a sensing child feels a threat, like a parent's anger or a peer's rejection, their brain doesn't tell them to run. It tells them to appease. It tells them to become whoever they need to be to make the other person calm down. If they are calm, you are safe. This is why you are so good at empathy. It started as a defense mechanism. You're not just being nice, you're subconsciously negotiating for your right to exist in a peaceful environment. 3. Emotional contagion. There is a neurological process called mirror neurons. They allow us to feel what others feel. But in people who feel too much, these neurons are on steroids. You don't just understand someone is sad. Your nervous system actually begins to mirror their physiological state. Their heart rate becomes your heart rate. Their lump in the throat becomes your lump in the throat. Stop for a second. Take a breath. Notice your shoulders. Are they up near your ears? Is your jaw clenched? You're doing it right now, aren't you? You're feeling the weight of this script. You're feeling the pressure to understand this perfectly. Relax. You don't have to perform for me. I'm just a voice. You're safe here. The unexpected reframe is this: you are not broken for feeling too much. You are a highly sophisticated instrument that has been left out in the rain. You are a Stradivarian violin used as a hammer. It's not that you're too sensitive, it's that the world is too blunt. The cost of being an emotional sponge is a slow, quiet erasure of the self. Think about it. If you are constantly scanning the horizon for other people's needs, when do you ever look at your own? There is a profound loneliness in being the high feeler. Because you are so good at sensing what others need, you assume that if you were in pain, others would sense it too. You think, I would know if they were hurting, so they must know I'm hurting. But they don't. They don't see the storm. They just see the person who is always so understanding, the person who always knows what to say, the person who is so strong. The strong one is usually just the one who has learned to bleed internally. The strong one is the one who cries in the car and then walks into the house with a smile. The strong one is the one who carries everyone's secrets until their own back breaks. The hidden cost is identity dissolution. You've spent so long being a mirror for others that when you look in an actual mirror, you don't know who's looking back. You know what your mother wants. You know what your boss needs. You know what your partner is craving. But what do you want for dinner? Not what would make them happy, what do you want? Most of you watching this can't answer that question. The silence that follows that question is terrifying. Because if you stop feeling for everyone else, you're afraid there might be nothing left inside the shell. You've traded yourself for safety. And the tragedy is, you still don't feel safe. Let's talk about how this shows up in your life right now. Let's look at the symptom list of the overfeeler, the post-social hangover. You go to a party, and even if you had a good time, you come home feeling like you've been hit by a truck. You need 3 days of silence just to find your own frequency again. The apology reflex. You apologize for things you didn't do. You apologize for taking up space. You apologize for being a burden when you finally ask for help. The detective mind. You are a world-class detective of tone. You can tell if a text message is angry based on the absence of an emoji. You spend hours analyzing a 3-second interaction, wondering, did I say something wrong? Did I shift the energy? The therapist friend. You are the person everyone calls at 2 a.m. You give and give and give. But when you have a crisis, your phone is silent. Not because people don't love you, but because you've taught them that you don't need anything. You've curated an image of invulnerability. Conflict paralysis. You would rather eat glass than have a confrontation because you feel their anger as if it were your own. A fight isn't just a disagreement, it's a physical assault on your nervous system. The fixing compulsion. When someone is sad, you feel a desperate, itchy need to make them happy. Not because you're a saint, but because their sadness is literally hurting your body. You aren't fixing them for them, you're fixing them so you can breathe again. Does that hurt to hear? It's okay. It's not a flaw, it's an adaptation. You became this person because at some point in your life, it was your job to keep the peace. You were the emotional regulator for a system that couldn't regulate itself. You were the child who became the adult's parent. You were the peacekeeper in a war you didn't start. You are not too much. You were just exhausted from carrying a weight that was never yours to hold.
So, what do? Do we just stop feeling? Do we become cold? Do we build a wall so high that no one can get in? No, that's just another form of prison. The goal isn't to feel less. The goal is to build a container strong enough to hold what you feel. Healing for the high feeler happens in 4 stages. 1. Interoception, finding the self. You spent your life looking outward. Now you have to look inward. This is called interoception. It's the ability to feel the internal state of your body. Practice. Multiple times a day, ask yourself, what is my body feeling right now? Not what is she feeling or what is the room feeling. Is your stomach tight? Are your feet cold? Is there a flutter in your chest? By naming your own sensations, you begin to draw a line between you and them. You are creating a border. 2. The secret no. For you, a no feels like a betrayal. It feels like you're hurting someone. But remember this, every time you say yes to someone else when you want to say no, you are lying. You are being inauthentic. You are giving them a version of you that is resentful and depleted. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. It's a gate to keep yourself in. 3. Reparenting the sensing child. Go back to that version of you who first learned to scan the room. The one who stayed quiet so they wouldn't cause trouble. The one who felt the world's pain and had nowhere to put it. That child is still living in your nervous system. They need to hear one thing. It is not your job to save them. You are allowed to just be a child. The world will not fall apart if you stop holding it up. 4. Emotional regulation versus absorption. You need to learn the difference between empathy and enmeshment. Empathy is seeing someone in a hole and sitting on the edge to talk to them. Enmeshment is jumping into the hole with them and breaking your own legs so you can suffer together. You are of no use to anyone if your legs are broken. There is a beautiful quote by the poet Nayyirah Waheed, "Choose yourself over anything else." That sounds selfish to you, doesn't it? That's because you've been conditioned to believe that your value is tied to your utility. You think you are valuable because of what you do for people. You're wrong. You are valuable because of who you are when you are doing absolutely nothing. If you've watched this far, it's because you recognize the weight of the open heart. You have spent your whole life being a harbor for other people's ships. You've let them dock, you've let them unload their cargo, you've let them repair their holes while you weathered the storms. It is time to be your own harbor. It is time to realize that your sensitivity is not a defect. It is a superpower that you simply haven't learned to aim yet. When you stop using your feelings to survive, you will start using them to create, to connect, to truly live. You are not too much. You are just a very deep ocean in a world that is used to puddles. Stop trying to fit into their shallows. If this video felt like a mirror, if it felt like someone finally put words to the ache in your chest, don't just leave a comment for the algorithm. Send this to that one person in your life, the one who feels everything but never complains, the one who is everyone's rock but is secretly crumbling. Send it to them and say, "I see you. You can put the weight down now," because the only thing heavier than feeling too much is feeling it all alone.